Steve Argy, welcome to Symban Radio and to the program once again.
Thank you, Tom. It's always a pleasure.
How's Melbourne? How's beautiful Melbourne?
It's not very beautiful this week. It's absolutely miserable and freezing. It's Bawasame.
Que mis Bawasame, I must say that midweek, we had power failures, we had trees being knocked over by the wind, we have outages everywhere. It was a very hard week, but then again, it's that time of year, and we can expect that kind of stuff. Although we must admit that at least it's not as bad as what we had in Brisbane I think it was last year, with the massive floods. So
yeah, no, you're right there.
Can't complain too much.
Grateful.
Lipon, before we talk about the latest edition of Opa, now last time we spoke, you were preparing for the Moda fashion show, the proceeds of which were going to the cancer research. How did that go?
Look, it was incredible. The night was a huge success. We had about 400 people attend. We had 2 girls volunteer to shave their heads on the night in support of the Leukemia Foundation, Genes for Genes, the World's Greatest Shave. They were actually a part of a new book that's coming out called In My Pants, which I'll talk about as part of the new Opa. But it was a very successful evening, great support, bilateral support through the Greek community and non-Greeks alike. And I'm proud to say we raised over $30,000 on the evening, so it was a big congratulations to everybody involved.
Excellent. Also, we had our friends, the kickboxing fans, were a bit of a disappointment due to upgrades to the electricity power works from what we've been told at the Flemington area. Athens versus Melbourne All-Stars kickboxing event has been postponed till the October the 27th. How's our good friend George Pergalis going, and how do the boys feel about all that?
Look, I think George is a fighter, and
he certainly is, isn't he?
He's bounced back with a vengeance. He's actually on tour at the moment with Petros Imbrios, who's touring the country very successfully right now. It was a bit disappointing to not have the event go ahead for now.
Yep.
I think it was unavoidable, and October will come around really quickly anyway.
Yeah.
But for now, I think Petros is taking up all of his attention.
Well, actually, we met Petros 20 minutes after he landed, and have you met? He's an amazing guy because spoke to the editor of Pista magazine from Greece, who knows him quite well, and but 20 minutes after he landed, we spoke to him via mobile phone. And it felt like he'd never been in Australia, like he'd been in Australia for 6 months. I was amazed at the stamina of the guy because...
No, Petros is brilliant. I actually caught up with him when he landed in Melbourne, and I took him out to dinner last Friday before they went up to Brisbane. He's actually coming over to my place on Sunday for a barbecue before he does his Melbourne show, and then he's off back to Greece on Monday. But he's a gentleman. Yep. He's a consummate professional. I think it's testament to George Pergalius' contacts and the calibre of the people that he hangs out with and his friends. So yeah, Petros was absolutely brilliant.
Mate, as I said, I was amazed that 20 minutes after, and even off air when I spoke to him, he sort of told me that he'd been to America for about a month, and he went to Athens to see his family for a few hours and then back to Australia. And as I said, I was amazed at how fresh and full of life he seemed after such a long trip. So let's go to Opa for this new edition of Opa. What can we Opa to everybody? What can we expect to read in the magazine for this month?
This month we've got a big feature. We ended up getting an exclusive interview with George Kotsiopoulos, who's a Greek-American that co-stars on the Fashion Police.
Okay.
George is a very passionate Hellene, and we actually flew one of our photographers over to LA to do the cover shoot with him. So we've been splashing photos of George Kotsiopoulos all over Facebook and through social media, reading Opa magazine. So it's the first time that anyone in America's been involved with Greek Australian media. So George is a very, very interesting character. The interview is amazing. One of our journalists, Dean Giorgio, did the interview with him, and it was a great insight into Greek American culture and how he sort of tried to cope with one, being involved in fashion, and two, being a very open homosexual in a Greek household. So it was quite illuminating, quite amazing to hear what he had to say. We also cover In My Pants. In My Pants is a new book that's coming out. it's a fundraiser based on cancer research again. So that spawned out of the event that we did, the Motto event. International photographer Peter Coulson is putting together a book that aims to raise $2 million for cancer. So we're covering the shoots that he started doing with his book called In My Pants. So it's called In My Pants because he gets all the people that are involved to wear a pair of 30-year-old Levi jeans, and the premise is that you don't understand what I'm going through unless you rather than walk a mile in my shoes, unless you rather than walk a mile in my pants, sort of thing. So
yeah,
it's quite an interesting concept.
It's really, Steve. People who haven't been touched by cancer probably don't fully understand. It's just when people either have been touched on a personal level or amongst their friends that they really start to understand. I personally have had that experience very, very recently, and at Symban Radio we've had that experience with one of our staff members, and it's been quite incredible, the things that we've learnt about what's out there. And I think we really need to open our eyes, because when we've got a clean bill of health and we go about our daily work, it's fantastic. When things don't go well, the facilities that are available and the professionals are out there to try and help people. And of course this illness is something which is, for some people, it's terminal. And it's a fantastic thing to be able to contribute towards such a lovely cause.
Well, look, the premise behind it is that it can be terminal and it can be very difficult to get through, both physically and mentally. But through Peter's book, we're actually trying to give courage and encourage families and victims and sufferers to to sort of give them strength and to get through the ordeal. Even if it is terminal, they still have to live on a day-to-day, and the book will help them to cope on a very personal level. So for me, it's there's not many people that I've met who haven't been touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form. Stats show that there's like one out of two people that are affected directly or indirectly by cancer these days. So it is a frightening plague that's sort of inflicted on humanity at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
We actually, I'm very excited to introduce a new contributor to Opera Magazine.
Yep.
The one and only Tom from Symban Radio. I believe I'm talking to you. Yeah. We have a great piece by Tom, yourself, on the Alexander the Great exhibition. Maybe you can tell us about it.
Well,
maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you've written for us.
Well, what can I say? I mean, it's something that's coming out in November, and it'll be, I think, it comes out in November, and of course the people from the museum have been very successful in bringing over, I think, something like 400 exhibits, all the way from the museum in Russia, which is the largest museum in the world. It's something like, I think, 300 rooms, and it's a fantastic thing. And I've spoken to a lot of people from both Melbourne and Sydney and provincial areas, and I think it should be a pilgrimage from all organisations that once the Alexander the Great arrives in Australia, I think every Greek should pay it a visit, because to be able to go overseas and see this stuff it would cost you a fortune. The fact that Sydney has been able to bring it to Australia, and it'll be here for several months. It'll be 4 or 5 months from memory. I think it's a great thing, and I think if we get organised, I was speaking to a lot of the lads there at the museum, and as I said, I know already there are people organising from Melbourne to have coach trips to Sydney and spend the weekend. And taking part, in the at the museum and various other things. So I think it's a fantastic thing. It's very cultural, and it's something that especially young kids would love to see the stuff. And it's something that the Russian Queen had taken her many years to collect all these artifacts, and I think it's a fantastic thing. It's surely people will see a lot of wonderful things in the magazine, in Opera Magazine. You'll see or some of the artifacts at least. But as I said, it's in our doorstep, so I think
it's a must-see.
Something we should all go and see.
It's a must-see and a must-read by one very talented author.
Excellent.
So thank you, Tom, for that contribution. I feel privileged to have it in there, this issue. But we are jam-packed. It's always 100 pages full of fun. We've got 3 contestants from The Voice with Hellenic roots. The Voice is absolutely smashing it on ratings at the moment. So we've got well, two with Hellenic background and one that actually sings at a Greek place here in Victoria, in Oakley. So the gentleman, Jimmy Couples, isn't Greek, but he sings at Vanilla, which is very popular here in Melbourne. But we caught up with Yana Stavru from Victoria and your very own Dana Rubis from New South Wales.
Excellent.
So we covered them, and just to give it a little bit of an international flavour to continue that, we've got Greek-Canadian rockers, Greek-Canadian this time,
Wow.
called Motion Device, who are fronted by, wait for this one, a 10-year-old girl who has got the vocal ability of Janis Joplin. She is absolutely incredible, and they are Greek-Canadian, that's two sisters, a brother and a cousin, and you've got to hear them to believe the quality of this band.
But Steve,
the average age is about 15, but Sarah, who's on the vocals, is 10, and she's absolutely mind-blowing. So yeah, Oppa's absolutely packed this issue with lots more in there, but there's a bit of a taste, to sort of whet the appetite.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, if that's everything that we've got with Oppa for this month, what can I say? I want to thank you very much for appearing on the show once again, and we'll catch up again in a month's time.
No dramas. Absolute pleasure. I look forward to it.
Nasakala, Steve.
Thank you, Tom. Nasakala.